didn't know she did that. All right, cool. All right, so what I'm going to do today, I'm going to teach you some stuff. I'm going to get you, this is my goal tonight, because everybody knows if you've watched me teach before, I can teach this stuff for hours on end. And instead of like having 5 things the money gurus never tell you, or 7 things the money gurus never tell you, I just have 3 tonight. 3 is good. 3 is perfect. You get in and out. I'm going to welcome you or offer you Money Mind Academy. You're going to want to hang out until the end because I did something with the tuition. And so if you attended last time, you're like, oh my God, he's doubling the price this time. You're in for a little bit of a treat a little bit later. So make sure that you hang on. And once I'm done doing the whole pitch and all of that stuff, we'll hang out, we'll do Q&A as long as you need me to. I didn't put a whole bunch of testimonials in here. I got a website, moneymindstudents.com. You can go to, you can see 126 testimonials from students and such. And so in and out, I get you out of here. Let's rock and roll. Okay, so let me go ahead and share my screen. Let me actually change this real quick. Speaker and pin me. Good, good, good. And share screen. Let's change this real fast. Give me 1 second to do something here. There we go. Okay, and then we're going to share. Boom. And I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do play. Okay, 3 things. This meeting is being recorded. Okay, everybody consent to be recorded. Cool. And then chat. I just want to put this up here so I can see your chats. Cool deal. All right, tonight we're going to talk about 3 things the money gurus never tell you. We're going to talk about how to take control of your finances without doing things that really suck. You know, when you're trying to like get ahead financially, the money experts are always like, skip your lattes and you got to work harder. You got to work more. You got to work more hours. You got to cut back on your electricity. You got to take shorter showers. You got to do all this stuff. And your life just kind of sucks. And in the end, this really doesn't work anyway, right? And so I'm going to show you how you can not do that stuff and allow abundance to flow into your life by changing your mindset around money and yourself and your emotions. And so real quick, I know when stuff like this happens, the phone starts to ring, your friend starts to text, you start to get notifications on the social media, just like take your phone, right, and just place it with the face down, put it into a whatever you call it, a drawer, silence it, do whatever you got to do, because you really want to focus here. There may be something or some things that I share tonight where you're like, that was the piece I was missing with my finances. Okay, so you are here because I'm going to assume you want to pay off debts. You know, maybe you went through a period in your life where you went a little crazy with the credit cards, or you want to be ready for emergencies. So maybe COVID happened and you're like, man, I was not ready for this. We were just barely getting by. And now I don't know how we're going to survive. Maybe you want to purchase your first home. Maybe you want to get prepared for a happy retirement. Not a retirement that most people are doing right now where they kind of have to work and they don't really feel comfortable at all, but like a really happy retirement where you can do whatever you want to do, right? And like Bob Proctor said on today's podcast, money was never supposed to make you happy. Money is supposed to make you more comfortable. So you want to live a more comfortable life where you don't have to worry about money all the time. One thing I used to believe is like people who have money are always thinking about money. They're obsessed with money. But let me tell you, at some point I realized when I didn't have a lot of money, I was constantly thinking about money all of the time. Now that I have a few dollars in my pocket, I really don't think about money that often because everything is taken care of. Now, number 3 is you tried all of these different personal finance plans. You've done Dave Ramsey, you've done Susie Orman, you've done Bach, you've done my homegirl Nicole Lapin, you've done all of these things, but you're not getting the results that you really want. And so Zig Ziglar, he said this one day. He said, money isn't the most important thing in life, but it's reasonably close to oxygen on the gotta have it scale. My friends, we all need money. Like we need money to get through life and to enjoy all of the great things that life has to offer us. Like Lisa Nichols said on the show yesterday, like money gives you access to great memories. It's not just about buying things and cars and houses and things like that. It's about being able to look back on your life and be like, oh my God, look at all of the cool stuff that we did. Look at all the cool things that we got to experience because we could afford it. And so here's a fact, and Dr. Demartini talks about this on tomorrow's QOD, but money is it's just a medium of exchange that plays an essential part in each and every aspect of your life. Like money doesn't really have a personality. Money is just green paper or it's coins or it's digits on the screen. That's it. We give it personality. We make it good or we make it bad based on the beliefs that we have about money. And typically these are beliefs that we learn from somewhere else. Now, in what areas of your life are we talking about? Your health. You know, it is well known that people who don't have a lot of money don't have very good outcomes when it comes to their health. Your family, you know, doing really cool things with your family, having those experiences with your family, being able to sit around the table every single night together as a family because you have the time and you have the money and you have the freedom for that. Your education, where you go to school, where your kids go to school, what books you read, which courses you take, all comes down to the amount of money that you have. We already talked about your retirement, but also your social life. Nobody likes the friend. I mean, you probably like the friend, but at the same time, you're like, who's always so cheap all the time. No, we can't go there because it's too expensive. Like, don't be that person, right? Your love life, your relationship. The number one thing that couples fight about is what? It's money. Traveling, you want to be able to go wherever you want, whenever you want, and you want to go first class, wherever you want to go. And when you get to your destination, you don't want to have one hotel room for the entire family. You don't want to do that. That's not vacation. That just kind of sucks, right? You want everybody to have their own room so you can enjoy your time away. What kind of food do you eat? You want to eat organic, you want to eat free range, you want to eat biodynamic, you want to eat grass fed. You're going to need money for that and time. You know, it's the one thing that's it's so important you don't get back in life is your time. But when you have some money in your pocket, the one thing that it can buy you is a whole lot of time. So money is super important, my friends. We try to say all this negative stuff, it's not that important, woo, woo, but money is very important. Why don't you tell me in the chat? Give me a couple answers to the question, why is wealth important? Why is wealth important? Pop that into the chat. Why is wealth important? Security, freedom, provides freedom. Wealth can be freedom, opportunity, stability, options. I see a lot of generic words. Give me something a little more specific. Not having to worry about emergencies, sleeping at night, stability and confidence, right? Confidence is huge. Helping others. I can do what I want. It can provide for generations to come. Nice, Ashton. Sweet Khaled says it allows you to extend your service beyond your presence. Yes, as Bob Proctor would say. Now, our main man, Dr. George Fraser, was on the QOD show a couple months ago, and he said something about wealth that I will never forget. Because wealth does not just affect you, it affects future generations of your family. Check this out. Let me turn this around real quick. My microphone doesn't pop out. Cool.
Why is wealth important? Your wealth will determine where you live. Where you live will determine where your children go to school. Where your children go to school will determine the quality of your children's higher education. And the quality of your children's higher education will determine your children's lifelong earnings. And your children's lifelong earnings will determine where your children live. And where your children live will determine where your grandchildren go to school. And where your grandchildren go to school will determine the quality of their higher education, and that will determine their lifelong. Do you understand the cycle of poverty here? We must break the cycle of poverty. That is our moral and spiritual responsibility.
My friends, who is it up to break the cycle of poverty, generational poverty? Who is it up to? You, me, you, every one of us. Me, us. Yes, that's a choice that you have to make. That's a choice that you get to make. That's a choice that I got to make one day. The future generations, if I ever meet a wife and have some kids, like they're going to be good, you know, not spoiled, but good. I'm taking care of the wedding, right? I'm taking care of the down payment on the first house. I'm taking care of the education because I can, right? Because we don't want our kids to struggle and go into their first marriages or and go into their marriage stressed out about their wedding debt or their mortgage. Because again, number one thing people in relationships fight about is money. You're setting them up for failure. And so one thing that we do is we read these books and we take these courses, which I'm not mad at, right? We'll look at Dave Ramsey's books, you know, we'll look at, again, Susie Orman's book, maybe The Millionaire Next Door. Everybody owns some of these books. And when we bought these books, the plan was to follow the plan to a T so you can retire well, so you can live well, so you don't have to be in debt. However, this is $1 billion industry right now. Millions of people have actually read these books and bought these books. But at the same time, I don't see millions of people talking about how they got the results that they wanted from these books and this information. It's not happening. It's not working. It's not because the steps don't work. Now, Dave Ramsey stuff works. Don't get me wrong. His 7 baby steps work. It's really good practical advice. Save $1,000, step 1. Step 2, pay off all your debt, except for your house. Step 3, save 3 to 6 months for emergencies. Invest that 15%, save for college for your children, pay off your house and build wealth and give. This stuff works, but it doesn't work by itself. And what I'm going to break down today is 3 pillars of financial peace. That's one of Ramsey's terms. You want to get financial peace. That's what we're all striving for. But what we're doing, however, is we're just focusing on this one pillar right here, following the plan. But there's 3 more that I'm going to break down during this hour that is going to lead to the financial peace that you want. And so this is me. I want to tell you very quickly my story. I don't want to talk about myself all day, but this is me. 1982, that was day one. It's me and my mom. What's up, Mom? It's day one of kindergarten. I was 4 years old, going to St. Louis Birchland School. I remember I cried and held on to my mom's leg, and I did not want to go to school, right? And fast forward, what is that, 23 years or something like that? It's a long time. No, 13 years. That's me, my first day in the dorms. I got my Maruchan instant lunch. You look behind me, I got bowls. I was the only person in the dorms who had like dishes and forks and stuff. I'm always very well organized. It's a trip how that works. But let me tell you, between 1982 and 1995, I learned a lot of stuff. But there's one thing that I did not learn: financial literacy. Nobody ever took the time either at home or at school to say, okay, Sean, here's what finances are all about. Here's what credit cards are. Here's what loans are. Here's what interest is. So since I never learned that, if you were to just turn around in this dorms picture and go down the hall and go down the stairs and go out the back door, there was a big parking lot at San Diego State University. And in this parking lot were vultures, the credit card reps. Now, this is illegal now, but it definitely wasn't back in 1995. The credit card reps would be like, hey, do you want a free towel? Hey, do you want a free hat or a water bottle? Hey, and all you have to do is fill out this application for a credit card. And I'm like, yes, of course I need more towels and hats and stuff. Why not? So I was filling out all kind of applications for credit cards. And then a couple months later, or actually a few weeks later, credit cards started coming in the mail. And because nobody ever taught me about credit cards, I went, wait. I can use these to buy things without having money? Get out of here, right? So I had every CD you can think of. I had every DVD you can think of. I ate very well. But at the same time, when those bills started to come and those monthly minimums were something I couldn't make, I found myself in a whole lot of trouble. 2001, because I was on that 6-year plan in school, I'm not ashamed at all, I graduated. But I didn't graduate with the confidence that I had when I went into school, because being the first one to go to college in my family, I was always told, hey, Sean, you're going to go to college and be rich. You're going to go to college and be rich. You're going to go to college and be rich. But if you fast forward to 2005, I was broke. I was personal training. I wasn't loving my job. I was disappointed in myself. I was depressed and on medication. Why? Because I was $20,000 in credit card debt. I was very, very disappointed in myself. I was $25,000 in school loan debt. And again, I was told over and over and over again that I'm going to go to college and be rich. And obviously I was not. It was all muscle, no money, right? I had 2 pairs of jeans. My buddy Ken Hill, who worked out at the gym, gave me 2 pair of jeans. They were True Religion jeans. They were too big for me, but I didn't care. And I wore the hell out of those things, right? And then I moved into an apartment in downtown San Diego that smelled like shrimp. And whenever people would come over, they'd be like, "Damn, you make shrimp today?" And I'll be like, "No, I made shrimp like 2 months ago and it still smells like shrimp in here." It's crazy. It's weird how that works. And so 2001 to 2008, I didn't answer the phone. If the cordless phone said unknown or no caller ID, I didn't answer it. Why? Because it was very likely collections. So imagine what my credit rating was. My credit rating was actually in the 500s. I read Susie Orman books. It wasn't like I didn't care about my debt. I wanted to do something about my debt, but I just didn't know what to do. So I read Susie Orman books. I consolidated my credit. I conserved electricity. I didn't have to pay for water at the time, but I was like, turn the lights out, turn off the stove. Don't cook for so long, right? Just so I could get my electric bill down from $40 down to 30. You know what I'm saying? I was really, really, really trying to cut my expenses as best I could. And then if we fast forward to November 2008, a friend of mine who I had been complaining to said, "Hey man, I'm going to send you something. I'm going to send you this audio file. It's an interview with Dr. John Demartini." And this particular interview, I must have listened to hundreds of times. This completely changed my whole life. And he said a couple of things. He said, if a person doesn't truly value wealth building, it's not going to occur. In other words, if wealth building, if earning, saving, and investing money is not that important to you in the grand scheme of things, you're not going to be able to do it because you have all these other things, traveling, social life, education, they're all on the front burner, and that's fine. But if you've got earning, saving, and investing money way out there in the back burner, there's too many things that are up front for you to be paying attention to. So all that stuff, that earning, saving, investing money never happens for you. And he also said this, he says, the amount of money you have will always be in direct proportion to the quality and the quantity of the service you provide. And I was like, man, I'm trying to make $100,000 this year. Am I really giving the quality and the quantity of service in order to earn $100,000? And the answer, of course, was no. And this is something that we do. We wish we can make more money, but at the same time, we're not willing to give the quality and the quantity of service in order to have it. So let me ask you this. Are you currently providing the quality and quantity of service needed to accomplish your income goal? Are you? Let's see it in the chat. Nobody? No, must not be. No, I'm not. No, thank you. Anybody else? Just 4 of you? Not now. No, nope, not in this job. Could definitely do better. No, obviously not. I believe I am very good. Not yet. All right, not yet. All right. Can absolutely do better. Yes, we can all definitely do better. We cannot go through life with our hands out, hoping that money is going to fall into our hands. We have to earn that money. We've got to save that money. We've got to invest that money. And now I'm getting better with my money mindset. I'm starting to actually make some money. And then I read this book, Life Unlocked by Dr. Srini Pillay. He was going to be a guest on my podcast at the time, Underground Wellness Radio, and they sent me an advanced copy. And this advanced copy probably sat on my bookshelf for at least 9 months or so. And when I finally opened up the book, I was like, oh my gosh, this book was written for me. You ever have that feeling? It's like when you go to church, you're like, wow, he's talking about me today, right? This book was literally about me. And he said something that blew my mind. He wrote this: unconscious negative ideas about money may disrupt the cortex. And when he says the cortex, he means like the front part of your brain that is responsible for making decisions, for making plans, for getting into action. So unconscious negative ideas about money may disrupt, scramble up that part of your brain. If the thought of money activates feelings of fear, it will activate the amygdala, right? And so it will cause the amygdala to activate, I should say. So the amygdala is your emotional processing center, but it's also your fear center because it prioritizes fear and it acts on that fear. And so if you have associated money with fear and negative emotions, your amygdala lights up. If the amygdala isn't disrupted by fear, your efforts will be well executed and synchronized. And I thought to myself about the beliefs that I had about money at the time, what I was raised to believe about money, and those negative emotions that I had about money. I was like, wow, this is why I don't have as much money as I want. It's because of my emotions and my beliefs around money are lighting up my amygdala and it's scrambling the part of my brain that's responsible for making decisions, taking action, and carrying out the plan. Oh, wow. Mind blown, right? I love this guy. And so that's when I realized this. Let me tell you the water hose story. Now, let's imagine, my friends, your only source of water is a hose that's in front of your house. There's no way for you to get water inside of your house. That is the only place you get water is this hose in front of your house. And so lately you've been going out to the front of the house and getting water and you turn the spigot and you hold the hose and you're like, wow, there's barely any water coming out of here. Like, what's the deal? And you look at the hose and there's a whole bunch of kinks in it, but you're like, still like, what's wrong with it? Why is there water just barely pouring out of this? You call the water person. And the next day, the water person comes over and they look at your hose and they're like, oh, you definitely got a problem with your hose. And he says, hey, I mean, this is your only source of water. So make sure you pay attention to me because this can be a lot of trouble. He says, what I want you to do, I want you to go to Home Depot and I want you to buy a bunch of buckets. And then I want you to go online. I want you to buy as many freezers as you can fit in your garage. And from now on, every day, I want you to go out to this hose because we don't know when water is going to stop coming out of this hose. I want you to fill up these buckets with water, and then I want you to pour them into the freezer. So whenever we do run out of water from this hose, you'll be able to rely on the water that's in the freezer. And you're going, I mean, it sounds like a kind of a reasonable idea, but what about the kinks? And the water person goes, well, don't worry about the kinks. They'll be fine. Well, that'll be $100. And you're like, wow, that was crazy. That's the deal. That's what's going on. This is what our personal finance gurus are essentially telling us. They're like, hold on to every single extra dollar that you have, save it away for a later day while your life sucks right now, but don't take care of all the kinks that you have in the hose. And here's the deal. You're stepping on your hose by way of the beliefs you have around money. I was definitely stepping on my hose with the negative beliefs I had about myself and that inner critic that was always talking to me, telling me that I wasn't deserving of money, that I wasn't good enough, that I wasn't smart enough, on and on and on. You know what I'm talking about. And also my emotions when it came to not just money, but everything. I was really bad at managing my emotions. And when you're bad at managing your emotions, you're going to be really bad at managing your money. So I went on kind of like a journey of one by one unkinking the hose, because when you unkink the hose, the water gets to flow. In between summer 2011 and February 2012, I think that says, I re-examined and revised and resolved my limiting beliefs and fears and conflicts around money. I took all of those limiting beliefs that I had that I learned from birth to about age 7, that I made decisions about, and I said, wait, does this actually make sense? Instead of focusing on debt, you all have heard where your attention goes, your energy flows. So when you're focusing on debt, I got to pay this down, I got to pay this down, I got to pay this down, what ends up happening? You kind of end up getting more debt. It's kind of weird how that worked. So instead of focusing on debt, I focused on abundance. How can I help more people? How can I deliver a higher quality and quantity of service to more people so I can have abundant income? And with that abundance, I can pay off these bills. So what I did is I earned over $150,000 in less than 1 year. It's the most money I ever made in that short amount of time. Mind blowing, right? And I wasn't working super hard and all that stuff. I just got rid of all of the kinks that were keeping the abundance flowing. I paid off my credit cards. I literally sat on this couch that's right here behind me. You can also see it in the picture. But I sat on that couch in my apartment in downtown San Diego, and I paid off all of my credit cards and all of my student loans in one sitting. Imagine that. Sitting down with your computer and be like, boop, 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 drinks on me. You know what I'm saying? It was done. Those 15 years of being in debt when my terrible credit score was over finally. And it wasn't over just because I followed some finance guru's plan. It's because I rearranged what was going on inside of my head around money. So what the personal finance gurus never tell you is this: getting out of debt and achieving financial peace is not a step-by-step, one-size-fits-all journey. It's a process of resolving long-held and largely unconscious beliefs. It's about raising your sense of self-worth, and it's about learning how to manage your emotions. And what they don't tell you is that the most important part of your financial journey is the steps you take before and or while you take the 7 baby steps. Because if you're not doing these other things, you're never going to be able to follow the 7 baby steps. You're going to start in January, and by the 3rd week of January, you're going to forget about it. It's just going to be over. And so September 15, I got my profit and loss sheet, and boom, I finally hit a goal that I had been shooting for a couple of years, which was to make over $1 million. And this was September. I had another launch, an online launch in October, ended up finishing that year, I want to say 2.3 in revenue. I took home about 1.3, I want to say. It's just like, oh my God, I went from being broke AF to making over $1 million. I built a school for underprivileged kids in Guatemala. It was my mom's Christmas present that year. When I went to school, I went to a private school and I was on the tuition assistance program. I didn't even know this till like maybe 6 or 7 years ago. And I made a decision when I learned about this, that when I have money, I'm going to do what somebody else did for me. I'm going to become a donor so underprivileged kids can go to, a Catholic high school in the Bay Area. And right there at the bottom right is my lovely home in sunny San Diego, California. Uh-oh, what happened here? Give me 2 seconds. Well, that was weird. Okay. In sunny San Diego with a huge avocado tree and a beautiful view and a basketball court that I was shooting on for a couple hours today. And it doesn't smell like shrimp, right? And so this is what happened for me, and this is what can happen for you, again, when you change the way you think and you feel about money. And so, of course, I've created this program called Money Mind Academy, which helps you to change your mind and you change your money. I've probably taught this for about 7 or 8 semesters for about 3 or 4 years, and people love it. And they take the course over and over again. And just this past year, I got certified as a transformational neuro coach by Dr. Srini Pillay himself. And so here's what I do. I help you discover how your unconscious mind influences your finances. I show you how to identify, re-examine, and revise limiting beliefs and fears that you have around money. And I help you change your money lens so you no longer see money through a filter of the past, of what's happened before, of the disappointments you've had, but as a rewarding possibility for the future. And so here's thing number 1 that the money gurus never tell you. You'll never have financial freedom if you kind of hate money. And if you kind of hate people who have money. It's simply never going to happen. We have so much, as I talked about in an email last week, so much resentment and vilification around rich people these days. I really worry about the future, for us in terms of our finances. And so here's the deal. We've talked about following the plan, how it doesn't work if you have these other 3 pillars. And so pillar number 1 of financial peace is going to be releasing your limiting beliefs. 3 things that your brain does. Your brain likes to make predictions based on past events, the meaning you gave those events, and how you feel about them. So keep that in mind. Your brain is always just trying to predict. Your brain does not like the unknown. So it's always trying to make predictions about what's going to happen based on the past. Your brain does not like to expend a lot of energy. Because I need to hold on to this energy in case we need to survive something. So it conserves energy by generalizing one or just a few experiences and categorizing these experiences for all experiences in that particular context. And I'll explain what that means in just a minute. And it does not like conflicts. That is one thing about your brain. Whenever you feel conflicted about something, what do you end up doing? You end up doing the opposite of what you really want to do. So when your goals don't match your convictions, when your goals don't match what you believe in, when your goals don't match your values, it will always, every single time with no exception, end in sabotage if you don't make some changes in the brain and your beliefs. So here's the deal. Let's talk a little brain science right now. Your brain has a part in there called your hippocampus. Now, your hippocampus is like your brain's photo album, right? It just stores a lot of pictures. It stores images of past experiences so it can predict the present and the future. I'll explain that a little more in a second as well. And each of these images that you have from the past is stamped with an emotion. So whenever you pull up one of these old pictures because you're experiencing something in your present, your brain goes, okay, what's the picture and how should I feel based on that picture? And here's a really key concept here, my friend. In the brain, there is no time. There's no time. Your brain doesn't run on a clock. Your brain doesn't really know the difference between the past and the present and the future. It all kind of overlaps. And so you have circuits in your brain for many different things, but we're mostly talking about your circuits in your brain around money. And so memory circuits in your brain influence the decisions you make or the decisions you don't make, but not making a decision is kind of making a decision. And actions you take or actions you don't take in your present. And what happens is when you're always coloring your present by way of what's happened in the past, and you're making these predictions as to how things are going to go, your future ends up looking like your past. So you go year to year, I'm going to make money this year, and you don't. The next year, I'm going to make money this year, and you don't. So it all just kind of looks the same year after year, and you're wondering, is there something wrong with me? But there's nothing wrong with you. It's just pictures that are stored and emotions that are stored in your brain's photo album. So let's talk about what's in your money circuits. So here's the deal. Think about when you were growing up, until about the age of 7 or 8. What did you hear? What did you see? What did you experience around money? And also, very important, what meaning did you give it from the perception of someone who is 7 or 8 years old and younger? Remember, you haven't always been an adult. This is the time when you believed in, red guys in suits and bunnies and stuff like that. So what did you make it mean from a child's perspective? Did you ever hear that money or the love of money is the root of all evil? How many times did you hear that? And when you heard that about money, how did that make you feel? Did it make you feel good about money? Did it make you want more? Or did it make money something that you feared a bit? You were scared of money because it's the root of all evil. Maybe you heard somewhere many times over that the rich, the 1%, they hog everything for themselves and just give the crumbs to everybody else. How does that make you feel about people who have money? Does it make you feel really good about them? Or does it make you feel like you don't trust them? Does it make you feel like they're bad people? Does it make you feel a little bit angry? Remember, this is going on in your brain. The image is being stored in your brain. These emotions are getting stamped, right? Maybe you heard or you saw your parents fight about money. How did that make you feel? What did you make that mean? Money makes couples fight. Maybe it meant that maybe money makes parents get divorced if your parents got divorced from a child's perspective, and you just haven't examined it since then. Maybe one of your parents, as soon as they got money, blew it all. And that made you feel like money is really hard to hang on to. That was the meaning that you gave it. And so it gave you an uncertainty, like a lack of trust in yourself when it came to money. Like if your parents couldn't trust themselves to hold on to money, then how can you? Maybe you heard that it's easier for a camel to go through the eye of a needle than for a rich man to enter the kingdom of God, even though there weren't really any sewing needles in biblical times. So it doesn't actually mean a sewing needle. And we talk about that in Money Mind Academy. How does that make you feel, especially if you are a church-going person? I'm not going to be able to get into heaven. You have fear around money if that's the case. Maybe you saw your mother or your father always cutting coupons. They had the coupon bag, right? Or just coupons in there. And every time you went shopping, you couldn't buy anything unless you got a coupon. So what did it tell you? Money's scarce. right? There's not enough money to go around. We can't have things that are full price. Maybe you had a parent who was never around because they were always trying to make money. They were always working. What did you make that mean from this little girl's perspective? Money takes parents away from their kids. Daddy's never around. He's out there making money, that evil thing that makes you greedy and terrible. Maybe you said to your mom, hey, I want this. And mom or dad said, hey, you shouldn't want that. You should be satisfied with what you have. And now you've disowned all your wants. And now it's always about everything. You don't need anything, right? It's always about everybody else. You don't really take care of yourself and your own desires. It's all about other people. You've disowned your wants. Maybe you saw one of your parents playing the lottery once a week. So it gave you the sense of the only way we're ever going to have money is by a game of chance. How helpless does that make you feel from a child's perspective, even from an adult's perspective, when you can't have abundant money unless you win a game? So think about that photo album. All of these photos are stuck in your hippocampus, stamped with an emotion, stamped with an emotion, stamped with an emotion, stamped with an emotion, and you're experiencing your present based on these very same pictures and these emotions and these meanings that you've given these experiences. So here's what's going on behind the scenes. This is cool. Number one is you are perceiving something. So your brain is asking the question, what am I sensing? Okay, I'm sensing that this person wants to ask for a raise. I'm sensing that this person wants to start a business. I'm sensing that this person wants to make the sale for money. I'm sensing that this person has a money goal. Now remember, it's taking in this outer experience and bringing it into the brain, and it's asking the question, what is this like? What is this like, okay? What if I experienced in the past that is similar to this? Okay, all of these experiences that are coming in from the outside have to do with money. Well, let's activate the money circuits. Oh, this has to do with money. This has to do with that thing that makes you greedy and miserable because it's evil, because they're not going to be able to hold on to it. It's going to take them away from their family. It's going to cause a divorce, and they're only going to be able to pay for things if they have coupons because there's not enough money to go around. So why is somebody going to want to pay you any money to do a particular service when they don't have any money? And that means that for you to get more money, you have to take from somebody else, and they get to have less money, you get to have more, which isn't really fair. So this is what your brain is doing behind the scenes. And so what you do, because now there are all of these unconscious emotions coming up, your brain goes, well, how does this make me feel? Is this for me or is this against me? Does this feel good or does this not feel so right? Is this an experience that I want to move toward more, or is this something that I want to move away from? And based on that evaluation, you make a decision. What do I do or what do I not do? Do I take the next step on Dave Ramsey's 7 steps or do I not? Because unconsciously, this doesn't make me feel too good because it's lighting up photos from the past and giving me really bad feelings. Can anybody relate to this, or am I just talking? Can you relate to this? No? Yes? Totally? Yeah, thank you, Ashton. Got it? Yes. So this is what's going on. So it's not surprising that so many people are struggling financially when this is going on in their brain. And then you got this other part of your brain called the conflict detector. It's called your anterior cingulate cortex. So essentially your goal is to go to the left, to bring more abundance into your life. But right over to the right is all of your limiting beliefs around money. So your conflict detector essentially monitors your actions and your decisions for conflicts. And what happens is when it senses a conflict, it says, stop, stay right there, don't move. Because what you're about to do right here is against your convictions. And that's why it doesn't feel so good. That's why you're resisting, right? That's why you want to quit. And so instead of your brain hearing, I want to earn $100,000 in 2021, your brain hears this: I want to earn $100,000 in 2021, and insert your negative money memories, insert the emotions that you feel around those memories. And here's the result. Well, maybe next year. Maybe I'll do it next year. 2022 is going to be my year. In 2022, on January 14th, you're like, oh, you forgot. You forgot about your own money goal. Then in December, you're like, oh, 2023 is going to be my year. And it just goes on and on and on and on. So what do you do about it? You got to reset your convictions. You got to reset your beliefs in your brain. Number one, you want to revisit your past. You know, what did you see? What did you hear? What did you experience around money at a very young age? I'll give you an example in just a minute. You got to re-examine those photos from an adult's perspective, not from the perspective of a 7-year-old, because, you know, your brain, here's what happens in your brain. Your brain takes all of these very silly beliefs and it kind of makes a little box for them and it puts them in like a dark corner. And it does this because if you actually found this box and you opened it up and you saw what was inside it, you'd be like, this is silly. This doesn't make any sense. Like this can't even, you know, stand the most basic test of logic. So your brain just kind of hides them away while at the same time governing your current behavior. So you want to re-examine those photos from an adult's perspective. You want to reinterpret the meanings. We'll get to that in a second, again, from an adult's perspective. Then you want to revise your beliefs and your fears and your stories around the monies, right? So here's an example. Your classmates' parents get a brand new luxury vehicle. They get a Mercedes or they get a high-end Tesla or something like that. And your dad mutters angrily, they must have stolen that money, right? They must have stolen the money to be able to get the car. I don't know what they're up to. Da, 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 da. Now, why would dad say something like that? Now, number one is dad may have learned from his mother and or father that people who have nice things steal in order to have them. So it could just be a belief that dad has about people who have money that he inherited from somebody else, just like you inherited your belief from somebody else. Also, maybe dad is not very happy about how successful or unsuccessful he has been in his life. And in order to cope with the disappointment that he has about that, it makes him feel better to talk about people who have money this way, to kind of tear them down so he can feel morally superior. This is what happens very frequently. So the meaning that happens in your mind, possibly, is that to have the nice things money can buy, you have to lie, you have to cheat, you have to steal. Can't live without my kombucha. The emotional label, the stamp that you put on it, anger maybe, distrust maybe. You don't trust rich people. You can't trust them. They're always stealing, they're always cheating, right? They're always lying and stuff. Disgust. Those rich people, they disgust me. I don't want to be around them. So those are the labels that are going on in your brain. And here's the belief that you've come to, that you've held on to ever since. Rich people are greedy, miserable people who lie, cheat, and steal. I don't trust them. See, your brain, my friends, it's wired by evolution for this us versus them thing. Who are we? Who are they? Who's the in group? Who's the out group? And this is what we do automatically unless we bring some consciousness to it. And so the present, you say to yourself, I want to earn $100,000. Well, your brain hears this. I want to earn $100,000 and be a greedy, miserable person who lies, cheats, and steals. I'll be one of them. This is one thing that was holding me back. You know, it dawned on me one day because I had heard, you know, during my childhood that there was us and there was them. There was those people. They don't want anything to do with us. There's rich people. Woo, woo, woo. And I went, wow, I don't want to be one of them. Because if I'm one of them, there's a possibility that the people who taught me that there was us and there was them may reject me and kick me out of the tribe and no longer accept me and no longer love me because I have money and now I'm on the other side. This is something that a lot of people are dealing with right now. They don't even know it. The us versus them. In the future, what you get is just more and more of the same. Your life never changes. So here's the reset. You know, I have this 6-question technique that I use in Money Mind Academy in week number 3, I think it is. I'll give you a couple other questions. Excuse me. You can go ahead and answer these in the chat if you don't mind. My friends, are all rich people greedy and miserable? No, 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 no way. Of course not. No, not a chance. Nope, not at all. No, nope, no. Gotcha, right? It's a generalization. We'll talk about those in a minute. Now, are there exceptions? Are there rich people who are generous and generally happy, content people. Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, 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 of course, for sure. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. Can you, my friend, choose to be the exception? Can you choose to be the rich person who's generous and generally happy? And definitely, absolutely. Yes, heck yes, 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 yes. You don't have to answer this, but why don't more people make this choice? Why are we always so quick to be like greedy, miserable, rich people? Like that's the only thing you can be if you have money. So your greatest power is your power to choose. You get to choose who and how to be when you have the type of money that you want. And whatever somebody else thinks about is really none of your business. See, that's the thing, it's the social part of it. We don't want people to criticize us. We don't want people to condemn us. We don't want people to judge us just because we have money, because we're going to feel insecure. We're going to feel judged, and nobody likes that, right? People are going to do to us or to you what you've been doing to people all your life. And you're like, I don't know if I can deal with that. And again, there's a certain kind of consciousness. I mean, you can't get to the end of your life saying, gosh, I wish I lived a more financially abundant life, but I was afraid about what people were going to think of me. So next question here. How can I revise this belief to instantly Photoshop the images in my brain's money folder so I can create a new past and experience a new emotion that serves me? So here's just an example. Yes, some rich people are greedy, some of them, but I also know a lot of greedy people who are far from rich. In fact, these greedy people are quite poor. Everybody knows poor people who are greedy. I mean, well, right? And so I accepted this belief about money and greed before I had any choice in the matter. As I re-examined this belief from an adult perspective, I realized that money makes us more of what we already are. I'm a generous person, and I choose to be even more generous on the way toward my financial goals and to continue to be and do so after I have achieved them. This is a different way to look at money, and it's just a different way to bring choice into the picture instead of feeling like you're stuck with only one belief, which is people with money are greedy, terrible people. Thing number two, run a little behind. Come on, Sean. Your net worth will never exceed your self-worth. So we talked about following the plan. We've talked about the next pillar, which is releasing those limiting beliefs. The next pillar here is to silence your inner critic. Can anybody relate to this right here? That constant chatter that's going on in your head. I'm not worthy. I must be perfect. I can't do it. I must not make a mistake. I'm not good enough. Nobody loves me. On and on. Is it only me? Am I the only one? Yes, too well. Oh my gosh, too much. Right. And so here's the thing. You're never going to have the amount of money that you want if you don't feel worthy of it. It's just not going to happen. And here's the thing about abundance. Abundance has two phases, giving and receiving. Most of us have trouble with both sides. Giving means you're giving a service, you're giving something to the world. In exchange for that, they give you money. But most of us we have so much belief, I should say, in scarcity that we go through life with clenched fists. And we're not willing to give anything because we're afraid that it's not going to come back. So a lot of us get like a D- when it comes to giving. Then on the other side with the receiving, how many times have you tried to give someone something and they put on the act? No, 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 you shouldn't. No, no, I can't take that. No, 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 no. Like they won't even allow themselves to receive something. They won't give you the good feeling of being a giver by receiving. And most people don't receive because they don't feel worthy of receiving. So if you're not giving because you believe so much in scarcity, and you're not receiving, or you have a hard time receiving because you believe that you're not worthy of all the good that's coming your way, you're never going to have financial prosperity. I try not to say the word never, and I'll tell you why in just a minute, but I don't think you will ever have financial prosperity if you don't feel worthy of having it. And so we talk about a little bit in Money Mind Academy is the selfie system. You have a goal to make so much money. Maybe it's $100,000. But at the same time, if you have a self-worth or the value that you place on yourself as a human being is $25,000, you're not going to make $100,000. We got to increase your sense of self-worth. We have to increase your self-esteem. We have to change your self-image. If you see yourself in your mind as somebody who is unworthy and undeserving of having the amount of money that you want in your life, you won't have it. You will always push it away because your self-image is like a box in which you live, but the amount of money that you want is so far outside that box. And every time you try to get out the box, it's almost like you run into an electric fence. You go, you get knocked back into your box. The only way you're going to be able to get to what you want is by expanding your box, is by expanding your self-image, by changing the way you see yourself. And I have a process that we put you through in Money Mind Academy to help you change the way you see yourself. Self-confidence. To go out there and give, you have to not only give service, but you have to give up of yourself. And that requires you to put yourself out there, which requires a sense of self-confidence. But if the confidence isn't there, it's hard to put yourself out there, and it's hard to do the giving at the level that you want to give. And all of this really comes down to your self-talk. How do you talk to yourself? What are you saying to yourself? Because whatever you're saying to yourself over and over and over again, you believe it to be true, and you will prove it to be true over and over and over again. So here are 5 steps. Yeah, Josie, I will send you the replay tomorrow at noon Pacific time. 5 steps to silencing your inner critic. I'm not going to walk you through all 5, but number 1 is to name the critic. We do all 5 in the course. Number 2 is to name the opposition. But number 3 is to find the critic's function and the payoffs. Every single thing that you're saying to yourself in your head, you're not saying it just to be mean to yourself. The critic inside says it because there's some type of payoff. If you're on a date with somebody and the critic in your mind is saying over and over, this person isn't going to like you, you're never going to get a second date, this person's out of your league, on, what's the payoff you're getting from that? You're preparing yourself for rejection, so it doesn't hurt so bad when you actually get rejected, right? So there's always some type of payoff. You want to identify the distortion, and I show you how to do that in the course. And you also want to rebut the critic with strength, specificity, and balance. So let's jump into this. There are 9 cognitive distortions. This is one of the most important things I ever learned probably about 10, 12 years ago when my negative self-talk was so loud and out of control. I read a book about this and I was like, wow, 99% of what I'm saying to myself in my head is completely wrong. That's wild. And it's because I learned how to identify the language distortions that were happening in my head, the overgeneralizations, the global labels. We'll talk about these 2 in a second. The filtering I was doing, the mind reading, that's a big one. I'll talk about that in a second. Comparing, self-blame, polarized thinking, emotional reasoning, control fallacies. Again, we talk about all these in the course. Mind reading, just real quick. When you might say to yourself, that rich person thinks they're all that, or that rich person is miserable, or whatever it might be, whatever you're saying, you have to ask yourself the question, how do you know? Like, how do you know? How do you know that somebody's miserable? Like, did you talk to their therapist? Did you have a conversation with them? Like, how do you know? Those people aren't going to like me. How do you know? Did you ask them? So what we do really, really frequently is we mind read. We act like we know what somebody's thinking when we really don't, right? You ain't Miss Cleo. You don't know what somebody's thinking. But anyway, I want to get to overgeneralizations and global labeling. So overgeneralizations mean this. From one isolated event, you make a general, universal rule. For example, if you failed once, you'll always fail. So with overgeneralizations, what they do is they close the door of possibility, change, and choice. Whenever you use a generalization, you can no longer choose because you're using words like never. Never means not ever. There's no possibility for ever because it's never. All means it's all, everybody. There can be no exceptions. Everyone. When I put myself out there, everyone is going to judge me. That means everybody. That means 7-point-something billion people are going to judge you. How scary must that feel to somebody? You use words like nobody likes me, always, right? Or going back to never, I'm never going to have financial freedom. So there's really no point if you're saying never all the time to pursue financial freedom, because this language you're using over and over again, you're going to prove it to be true. And so you're never going to have any financial freedom. It typically confirms the way you think and feel about yourself and the possibilities for your life. If you believe you're never going to have money, you'll say it over and over again, and you'll make sure you never have money. And the absolute words that you're using become a prison of your own making. So you'll say, I'll always be broke. I'll never have enough. Never, not ever. Everyone will judge me. Everybody's not going to judge you, right? There's probably like 2 or 3 people who are going to judge you, but not everybody. And so here are some rebuttals for overgeneralization. What evidence do I have for this absolute conclusion? What evidence do I have that I'm never going to have financial peace in my life? If I had to put that on the stand, what evidence could I use to prove that I'm never going to have financial peace in my life? Think about that. Do I really have enough data to make this rule? Right? Maybe you failed once and now you're like, oh my gosh, I'm always going to fail. Like, how do you know? Maybe the next time you try, it might work. Or maybe there's times in the past where you had success, but you're just not thinking of them right now. Where and what are the exceptions? What are the exceptions to the rule about everybody's going to judge you? Do you have somebody in your life who isn't judging you? How can you use more accurate words like some, few, and once in a while? Now, this is huge. This is big time. Whenever I'm writing my newsletter, whenever I'm posting on social media, whenever I'm speaking, I try to make it a point to always use words like some. I use always, which is a generalization. Most of the time, use words like some, few, once in a while, generally speaking, often. Why? Because when you use blanket statements, you're probably going to offend somebody. Because when you use a blanket statement, somebody goes, well, he must be talking about me since he said everyone. But if I say some people or some of this category, people go, well, I'm not sure if he's talking about me. Maybe he's talking about somebody else. But we do the same thing to ourselves. We use blanket statements that offend ourselves instead of using more accurate words. So just changing this just a little bit, changing the words that we use, recognizing when we're generalizing can make a huge world of difference in your life and leading to you becoming feeling more deserving and worthy of having the abundance that is, rightfully meant for you. Now, real quick, let's go through global labeling. You automatically use pejorative labels to describe yourself rather than accurately describing your qualities. For example, I'm going to slow down a little bit. I'm going to go about 20 more minutes. I'm dumb. I'm a bad parent. I'm selfish. I'm fat. I'm a failure. My finances are a total mess. We're stamping ourselves with a label based on very, very few experiences, right? And we do this all the time. And if you're doing it all the time, your self-talk is nasty. And you're always going to push stuff away because you feel like you don't deserve it. So I am this label because of a single event or isolated context. I'm a bad parent. I'm a bad parent because I sometimes yell at my kids. I'm fat because I'm 15 pounds over my ideal weight. I am fat. We had Reverend Ike on the show a couple of weeks ago, and he talks about the power of the I am statement. I am blank. However you fill in the blank is how you're going to feel about yourself. If you're walking around saying, I am a bad parent, how can you possibly feel about yourself? If you're walking around saying, I am fat as a person, how can that make you feel? Where is your energy? Where is your vibe? I am stupid because I haven't grasped this one specific concept. This one thing, I can't get this, so I'm stupid. I am a failure because I made a mistake. We do this to ourselves all the time. So when you challenge these global labels, you want to be specific and realize that the label is referring to only part of your experience. Is this connecting with you at all? I'm wondering. You guys, does this go? Is it no? Yes? Yeah? Okay, cool. Just want to make sure. I can't really see you. Okay, cool. So I'm a bad parent. Let's be more accurate with this one. All parents yell at their kids sometimes. It's normal. I'm not perfect. No parent is. I do plenty of things that good parents do. You want to be accurate. I'm fat. I'm 15 pounds above my ideal weight, but my weight is only one aspect of my appearance. It's only one aspect. What about the rest of you? I'm stupid. I'm not as good at writing reports at work as I like to be. There are plenty of other things I'm good at, though. For example, you can list all the things that you're good at. I'm a failure. Hey, I've had plenty of successes in my life. I just need to keep them in mind. One thing we often do is we take our successful experiences and we put them into that same box in the corner of our subconscious mind, and we don't want to look at it for some reason. You want to be aware of all of the good things that you've done. We do that in the first class of Money Mind Academy. We do something called the accomplishment intro that really changes the way people see themselves. So rebuttals for global labeling. Stop. When you hear your inner critic labeling you, stop. That's not me. That's just a label. Labels exaggerate a little piece or tiny piece of me. Or stop. I refuse to call myself names. It's amazing the names we call ourselves. We wouldn't call anybody else that, but we'll call ourselves that. What about that time when? What about that success I had? What about that thing I'm really good at? What about all those other good parts of me? On and on. We got to shift our attention to the things that we love about ourselves because we're not perfect. Okay. Now, thing number 3, you cannot manage your money if you cannot manage your emotions. This is a big one. I've overhauled, like I'm giving you a lot of stuff that I usually teach in Money Mind Academy on this one because I'm overhauling the emotions part. But you cannot manage your money, my friends, if you cannot manage your emotions. Now check this out. We've talked about following the plan. We've talked about releasing your limiting beliefs. We talked about silencing your inner critic and why those are all so important and why those work together in order to give you financial peace. But the last pillar here is going to be this. You got to learn how to master your emotions. You see, here's the deal. You can follow the plan and you can release the limiting beliefs, but if you don't master your emotions, it's not going to work. You can follow the plan and you can silence your inner critic. And you can even master your emotions, but if you don't release your limiting beliefs, that conflict detector in your brain is going to be like, nah, I'm good. Let's do this next year. You can follow the plan and master your emotions, but if you don't silence your inner critic, you're never going to feel deserving of the good that's coming your way. You're never going to feel deserving of financial peace. So all 4 of these have to work together like a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, right? You can't have it without the jelly. You can't have it without the bread. You can't have it without the peanut butter. You can't have it without the knife. So all 4 of them have to come together to make the peanut butter and the jelly. And these 3 things we're talking about tonight, I've got a couple extras for you, or why people usually fail when it comes to changing their finances. So check this out. When you were a young child and you cried and you had emotions, right? Or you felt uncomfortable emotions, there's a possibility that your mother or your father was like, okay, let it out. It's okay. And you shook, you did this like this, right? And they're like, okay, just let it out, let it out. And you got to process your emotions in an appropriate way. But maybe as you got a little bit older, things changed a little bit. And maybe one of your parents or the nanny or somebody was like, stop all that crying. Stop all those tears. If you keep on crying, I'm gonna make you cry even more. So what we tend to learn as very young people, a lot of us, but not all of us, is to suppress our emotions. We learn that there are positive emotions that we should be feeling all of the time, and that there are negative emotions that we do not like to feel and that we should not show. Anybody relate to this? I see you, Taryn. I see you nodding your head, right? Okay. And so this is what we learn, and this is what we become when we're adults. So we have to realize, my friends, that there is no such thing as a negative emotion. There can be an inappropriate expression of an emotion. I get that. But as I talked about on the podcast last week, if you didn't have anger, then how would you fight injustice? If you didn't have guilt, then imagine how we would treat each other. If we didn't have fear, we would like run in the middle of the highway and be like, well, look how fast I am. Boom, and done. Like emotions are there for a reason. But we take these negative, uncomfortable emotions, and what we do is we learn how to hold them like beach balls underwater. And the thing is, like, we don't just have one beach ball. We've got a shame beach ball. We got a guilt beach ball. We got an anger beach ball. We got a fear beach ball. We got an anxiety. We're trying to hold all these balls underwater so nobody sees them, right? And it's freaking draining. This is one of the reasons why we're so tired all the time, because we're holding all these emotions down. And what happens, my friends, when you hold beach balls underwater? At some point, what's going to happen? Boom. And you're like, oh my God, I don't know where that came from. Oh my God, that's so not me. It was you. You were just holding that part of yourself underwater. You were suffocating these emotions that have been helping you throughout your entire life. Because just imagine, like, anger has a voice, like anger is a personality, kind of like in that movie Inside Out. And you're suffocating anger. And anger's like, dude, what are you doing? Remember that time like somebody mistreated your kids? Like, that was me that helped out in that situation. That was me. Hello. Like, why are you trying to suffocate me? But due to this suffocation, we explode. And here's the deal. We try to suppress our emotions. We do this 5 ways. I won't cover all 5 in depth, but we distract ourselves. We're on social media all day, trying our hardest not to feel. We're watching TV, trying our hardest not to feel, right? We're numbing our pain. We're drinking, or we're smoking, right? We're spending money. We'll talk about that in a second. We're trying to be strong, stiff upper lip, no vulnerability. Got to be tough, got to put on the mask, got to put on the face. Nothing affects me. Suppressing emotions. We're giving ourselves pep talks. So we're listening to the quote of the day show, trying to get some extra motivation to get through the day. Knowing, I mean, that's cool. Listen to the show. Definitely don't miss the show. But at the same time, motivation is fleeting. It only lasts for so long. So you're constantly trying to pep yourself up, so you don't feel. And number 5, we spiritually bypass. Oh, I'm feeling this because it's my soul contract. It's a contract that I signed before I came to earth about my suffering, whatever. And so here's what happens when you don't know how to manage your emotions. For many of us, we spend money. You might be on step 1 of Dave Ramsey's baby steps, which is to save $1,000. You got $757.24 in your savings account, and you have a bad day, and you're like, ooh, those shoes look really nice. Maybe I should go to the store and get those shoes. Really make me feel better. Why not? There's a real thing called retail therapy. I've been there. It's fun, but in the grand scheme of things, not very helpful when it comes to our financial goals. But it feels good. Like, research shows that you get a hit of like dopamine and serotonin, those feel-good neurotransmitters, when you participate in retail therapy. So like she says here, you're right, shopping won't fix the problem, but it will put me in a better mood for when I have to deal with it, when I actually have to deal with it. And people do this all of the time because they cannot manage their emotions. You spend your emotions over and over and over again. You aren't getting ahead because you're spending your emotions. Why don't we just learn how to more appropriately express and feel our emotions so our money can stay where it is? And here's another thing for you. And in the class, we talk about ways to release those emotions. One that we do is release writing, if you want to look that up. But here's something I just added this to the presentation today. You have to have patience. This is key. I'm going to ask you some questions. Go ahead and punch your answers into the chat. Would you rather have $79 now or $100 in 365 days? Check that out for me. 79 now, 79 now, 79, 79, 100, 100, 79 now. I can start investing 100 later, 79, 100, 100, 100, 79, 79 now, 79, 79, 100. Okay, cool. Next one. Would you rather have $9 now or $100 in 365 days? $9 now or $100 in 365 days? 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. Very good. All right, those are my kind of answers. Ashton, what's up, Ashton? $9 now, what you gonna do with that? All right. But anyway, so next one. Would you rather have $17 now, I hear you, Ashton, or $100 in 365 days? 17 or 100? 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100, 100. This is very good. 17, 100. Okay, I can dig it. That wasn't so bad. Aren't there like more people in here? Why are there like 10 people participating? But anyway, so last one. Would you rather have $49 now or $100 in 365 days? 49 or $100? 4900 100 49 still 100 49 100 100 49 100 49 100 49 49 100 I don't think I can earn enough interest to double 49 100 49 100. Okay, all right, so here's the deal, my friends. Here's why I asked you these questions. Temporal discounting or annual discounting factor means this. It is the current, it's what we just did. It is the current relative valuation placed on receiving a good at an earlier date compared with receiving it at a later date. Again, what we just did, this comes from a book called Emotional Success by David DeSteno. Now, it is also an indicator of how much we devalue the future in order to have immediate gratification. And it can demonstrate the degree, this is really important, it's all important, but this is really important. It can demonstrate the degree of financial impatience and lack of self-control someone has. Lack of self-control. If you want to have money in the future and you have no self-control, you won't have money in the future. Period. Ain't gonna happen. You're gonna spend it because you're feeling all emotional and stuff, right? You're trying to feel good, or just a general lack of control. You're like, you need this immediate gratification. And so in his book, he says the average annual discounting factor, again, what we just did, was 0.17, meaning that the average person perceived $100 to be worth only $17 if he had to wait a year to get it. $17. That's a good deal of financial impatience, as turning $17 into $100 after only a year ends up equaling a return on investment of over 400%. You just had to wait 365 days, you got 100, but you settled for 17. That's a lot of financial impatience. That is a lack of self-control. That's a lot of immediate gratification. So unless a person needed that $17 to survive physically or metaphorically for the next few days, this decision makes little sense. It seems excessively short-sighted, as in a year's time, the purchasing power would be a lot more. So why do we do this? We do this because of this, because we have a hard time connecting with this person. You have a hard time connecting with your 75-year-old self. I'm 43 right now, and it's like, I can't even I'm gonna be 75 one day. Like that's, I mean, hopefully one day I'll be I can't, I have a hard time, I don't know, not believing that, but just truly connecting with that completely. That I'm gonna have a full head of gray hair or no hair and a full gray beard. Like I have a hard time with it. And obviously I'm not the only one. But if we can't connect with that future version of ourselves, we also can't take care of that future version of ourselves. And one day we wake up and we're like, oh my gosh, I'm 65. It's retirement time if you want to retire, and I'm not ready because I took the $17 instead of the 100. And so here's the deal. What do we do about this? There are three emotions that help you to become more financially patient: gratitude, compassion, and pride. You'll learn more about this if you read DeSteno's book, or DeSteno's book, however you say it, Emotional Success. But gratitude makes people more financially patient. If Money Mind Academy is not in the financial budget for you this semester, hopefully it is, so I did change the price a little bit, then you can do this totally for free. You can write a gratitude list. Now, they did a study, and essentially what they did is they had three different groups of people. They had neutral folks. They had people who they were able to give happy emotions to. They made them feel happy. And there's some people who they made feel grateful by writing a gratitude list. Check out what happened. Those feeling grateful were significantly more future oriented. It took $31 to tempt them to forego the $100 reward compared with the $17 neutral folks. Check this out. Because remember, everybody says, I want to be happy. I want to be happy. Well, the happy people only did $1 better than the neutral folks. $18 compared to 17. Gratitude, again, $31 versus 17 and 18. Just gratitude. for free. Feeling grateful does nothing less than increase our willingness to wait for or persevere toward a future reward. For simply inducing gratitude through reflection on a past event to increase annual discounting factors to this degree is a rather profound occurrence. It means it's super freaking crazy that this happened just by feeling gratitude. So here's some more perks when it comes to gratitude, just in case you wanted to know. It gets easier every time you do it. Willpower does not work long term. If you're trying to lose weight, your willpower into the day, no ice cream, no cookies. 10 o'clock, you eat ice cream and cookies, right? Because you have no willpower left. Gratitude gets easier, right? You get to charge those, it gets charged up, I should say. Decreased materialism has been found in younger people, so they don't need a bunch of like material stuff. Lower blood pressure, higher HDL, lower LDL cholesterol, decreased anxiety and increased optimism, and better sleep just by doing a little gratitude practice every day. So here's how you cultivate gratitude. Number one, keep a daily gratitude journal. Open that thing up every day. It literally takes 2 or 3 minutes. Just write down 10 things or 15 or 20 things that you're grateful for. And here's one really important thing. We talked about giving earlier. You want to include people who have helped you. Who's helped you in the past? Who's helped you to become the person who you are? Who's given you just a leg up in your life, right? Because when we do that, the brain needs a sense of completion. So the brain says, okay, I want to pay this forward. Somebody helped me in the past. I feel like I need to go help somebody now or in the future, which makes you more giving. People who are grateful are just more giving, more generous people because of this very reason. Now, this is very important. I'll just do this very briefly because I know I told you I wasn't going to keep it too long. Change, my friends, is not easy. You know, we're reading a book called How We Change in the QOD book club right now. And, you know, there's a reason, in addition to the things that we've talked about tonight, that people don't change. And, you know, we're trying to feel feelings that we don't want to feel. Whenever you're trying to make change, whenever there's something that you want and you don't have it right now, the journey of getting it is a very anxious journey. And nobody really likes to feel anxiety. But the only way you're going to be able to get what you want, which is financial freedom, you're going to feel some anxiety. You're going to have some setbacks. You're going to have some obstacles. You're going to have some ups and downs. You're going to have multiple disappointments. And this is why people, for the most part, never have financial freedom. Again, in addition to what we talked about today, because to really change requires you take responsibility for your life, requires that you take full accountability for what happens, requires that you become or accept the fact that you are the captain of your own ship, that it's really up to you, that nobody's going to come and save you. And people have a really, really hard time with that. They have a hard time dealing with those emotions. And that's why I want to teach you how to, not only how to manage those emotions, but surround you with a group of people who are doing the same thing that you're doing right now, which is becoming more financially free. Because as I'll talk about in a couple of slides, if you are trying to change your financial circumstances and you're hanging out with a bunch of broke people, you probably won't change your financial circumstances. As Jim Rohn says, you become the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with. And that's it. And that's why the community is such a really important part of Money Mind Academy. The community is huge. It's not very likely you're going to be able to really crush this if you don't participate in the community and lean on people for the support that you're going to need throughout the ups and the downs of this journey, because there will be ups and downs. That's just a fact. And so we've talked about these pillars. You got to follow the plan. That goes without saying, but you got to release those limiting beliefs, because you got to get rid of the conflicts that you have. You got to silence your inner critic. You got to master your emotions. Remember, you can have 3, but if you're missing the 1, it won't happen. You can have 2, but if you're missing the other 2, it won't happen. And as we know, if you only have the 1, which is following the plan, but you don't have the other 3, you're toast. But there's 2 more that I want to just introduce you to real quick. Number 1 is going to be commitment. You have to be committed to going through this journey. You can't just kind of want it. You got to be all in. You got to be fully down to deal with the ups and downs and the disappointments that are going to happen along this journey, you know, and to embrace all of the good times and celebrate the wins, which we do every week in Money Mind Academy. And number 2 is you got to have a community, as I just talked about. You got to have people who are on your team, because the people who surround you right now aren't on your team and they don't believe in you. it's hard to really believe in yourself when the people around you are like, this thing you're doing, you're doing one of these things again. We've seen you do this before. Ooh, right. You got to have the community. It's so big. And so this is probably one of the most important things that anybody ever told me in my entire life. It happened last year. It was Dr. Serini Pillay, author of Life Unlocked, was complaining about some stuff that was going on in my life. And he says, Sean, the reason you don't have what you want is because you're not committed to having it. He says, when you're committed to having it, then you'll have it. And that's the thing. We set these goals in the beginning of the year to have financial success, financial peace, financial freedom, but we're not really committed. We're not willing to deal with the ups and downs. Let's just keep it real. When you commit, when you make a decision that you're going to go all in and you're going to ride this thing out, no matter how long it takes, that's when it's going to happen for you. But if you're just like, yeah, maybe, I mean, it'd be nice, don't sign up for the course. It's just not going to work. We're not a good fit. So you got to really commit. And then number two, proximity is power. Again, I can't say this enough. You got to be around people who are supporting you every Friday. And during the course, let me get some water real quick. Every Friday during the course, we get together and we support each other. Year round, I changed the year round a little bit. You'll hear about that in a second. But we get together, we support each other, we help each other through tough times and through good times. We celebrate our wins. We give each other props. Like, community is big. So here's the question. You don't have to answer these. I don't want to do the weird, hypey webinar thing, but what if you got all the kinks out of your hose? What if you release your limiting beliefs, you silence your inner critic, you mastered your emotions, you have the support of a community on the same journey as you? Like, what if you really had that? I'm sure you would say that that would make a difference for you based on what you know now. What if you don't get all the kinks out of the hose and it's just dripping? What if you don't release your limiting beliefs? What if you don't silence your inner critic? What if you don't master your emotions? What if you continue to surround yourself all the time with people who don't support you? And what if I helped you? What if I helped you identify and re-examine and replace those limiting money beliefs you've had since you were just a little kid that you haven't looked at? What if I helped you to silence your inner critic so you can actually feel worthy of receiving? Remember both sides, the giving and the receiving. If you're not going to receive, you're never going to have the abundance you want. And then what if I helped you to master your emotions? What if I helped you to surround yourself with really supportive people, like real friends who are down for the cause, right? I mean, that's what I do. And of course, I'm sure you're going to say that would make a difference for you. How could it not? And blah, 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 blah. And so here's how we can work together. I got this course. It's called Money Mind Academy. It rocks. It's amazing. I've been teaching it for several years. I believe I am the best money mindset teacher on the entire planet called Earth. I'm really, really good at this. I'm fantastic at this. Here's what's inside. You're going to get 12 live online classes. We start next Tuesday, June 1st. 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time, we go 90 minutes. If you miss the live calls, you're gonna get the videos and the audio recordings in your members area. We also have worksheets every week so you can do the homework so the content really sticks. We do it live for a reason. We do it live instead of recorded because I want you to finish the course. How many times have you bought a course that was pre-recorded and you didn't finish it? You got a couple modules in. I give you a time, Tuesday, 5 o'clock Pacific time, 8 o'clock Eastern time, for you to show up along with your classmates so you can connect with them. You can it's just amazing to have a place to be where people are going to be happy to see you. You get to learn as a community. It makes a big difference. I'm always super happy when there's still a couple hundred people on the last call. That's cool because they finished it. And that's what we want to do. We want to finish it, not just start. Here's what we do. I'm not going to give you and tell you all 12 lessons. You'll see that on the order page, but we go into the roots. Where did these beliefs come from? We re-examine your limiting beliefs. We give you new beliefs. We help you to create new interpretations and new meanings and to revise those beliefs that you had before. We revise your self-talk. We go through those distortions. So when you're saying these things to yourself, you can be like, oh, I'm mind reading right now. Here's a rebuttal for that, okay? It takes practice, but it sticks after a while. Then I'm going to show you how to not just release, but just master and learn how to manage your emotions in a more appropriate way so you don't spend your emotions. And then lastly, we talk about the rules, right? And I don't mean like rules, strict rules. I mean that there are particular laws and attitudes that people who have money actually have. there are rules that they follow. And I'm going to show you the 12 most important rules in our final class. Again, the entire schedule is at moneymindacademy.com. I don't want to take half hour to break it all down to you. You can see it there. Now, number 2, you get Q&As. You get 12 live Q&A calls with me and your friends from class, Wednesdays at 3 o'clock Pacific time, 6 o'clock Eastern time. So I only tend to answer like 1 or 2 questions at the end of our Tuesday classes, because I don't want the recording to be too long. But if you do have a question, you can email it to me, then show up on Wednesday and I'll give you an answer. And we also have discussions and such in the Q&A calls. So that's every Wednesday, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock. We have 12 of those. And then you also have 12 live community calls Fridays at noon. We go 90 minutes, so 2 hours, whichever works. And we're just there to support each other. Again, celebrate our wins, give each other props. It's just a really, really good time. You get 12 of those. Now, I used to make it unlimited community calls. As I said at the beginning of this call, I was going to double the price. But one thing that I've kind of had this kind of come to Jesus moment about a month ago, where I was like, I don't want to price people out. You know, I can make this course $2,000 and that's what other people are charging for their money mindset courses. But I don't know. I don't know how I feel about that. I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's an investment for them. And yeah, they're actually going to do it. But how many people who are dealing with financial problems can actually afford $2,000 for a course? And so like, I'm doing good. I got all kind of money. I'm not really worried about it. And so what I've done here is I've taken out the unlimited community calls, and it's just going to be 12 community calls now. If you want to stay on past the 12 community calls, there's going to be a monthly fee, probably like $97 to continue doing the community calls. We also used to have forever enrollment. So if you signed up once, you got to take the course as many times as you want to. I pulled that out as well. You get the 12 calls, you get the recording. You'll have the recordings for at least 2 years. And so you do not have unlimited enrollment like forever and ever. You're committed to this particular semester. And if you want to retake the course next semester, it's probably going to be like $197 to retake the course. Okay, so classes begin Tuesday, June 1st. That's next Tuesday, blah, blah, blah. I told you the leading courses out there, which aren't as good as my course, just to be honest, are $1,997. Your price today, again, no forever enrollment, no unlimited community calls, $497. One payment. I didn't lose my mind. I just want to help more people. $497. That is it. $497. Might not ever do this again. $497, right? Or you can do 6 payments of $97 a month. Cool? Does that make sense to everybody? Yeah. Okay, so go to moneymindacademy.com, get signed up, moneymindacademy.com. The link is in the chat right now, moneymindacademy.com. Now, some more stuff. You can take the entire course, watch all the lessons, do the worksheets, hang out for all the community calls. You can lie to me and be like, Sean, I didn't like the course. We don't ask you any questions. We're just like, hey, just send us proof, like some pictures of the worksheets like on a table, just take a picture of them, show us that you did the work, and we'll give you all your money back without asking anything. So just lie to me if you want. I don't care. 90 days, entire course, get your money back. Also, I didn't load this thing up with testimonials. I could have, but we will be on this thing for 2 hours. moneymindstudents.com, 126 student reviews. People have paid off immense amount of debt, got new houses, got new cars, had all this money come into their life because they did the work in the course. Spousal enrollment is included. So if you want to take the course with a spouse, get signed up under one person, send us an email, say, hey, I want to add my wife or my husband. Here's their name. Here's their email address. We'll add them to the roster so they can get into the Facebook group, attend the community calls as well as the classes, and get their own membership area as well. And also, you got a 60-day payoff period. And what I mean by that, you can start with the $97 payments now. You can be like, maybe I'm not sure if I'm gonna like it, but within 60 days, you can hit us up and be like, hey, do you mind if I just go ahead and pay off the whole balance? And that way you don't incur the extra $100 charge if you are on the 6 payment plan. So this would be like, hey, can I pay the difference? We'll be like, yeah, we'll run your card and you're good to go. Hope that makes sense. And here's the deal. Because you attended the live call, I got a fast action bonus for you. Now, again, I did pull out the forever enrollment. I did pull out the unlimited community calls, but you can have forever enrollment and you can have unlimited community calls if you sign up tonight. I like decisive people. Sign up tonight before 9 o'clock Pacific time, or by the time the Laker game is over, which is probably going to be about 9:30, right? Sign up by 9 o'clock Pacific time or midnight Eastern time, and you're going to get forever enrollment and unlimited community calls. But that's only going to be until 9 o'clock Pacific time tonight. So go to moneymindacademy.com and get signed up for that. Again, one payment, $497, 6 easy payments of $97. Enrollment's going to close Tuesday, June 1st, noon Pacific time, 3 o'clock Eastern time. That is the day that classes start as well. I usually shut it down on Monday, but it's Memorial Day. People aren't checking their email. So we're going to shut it down on Tuesday, noon Pacific time, 3 o'clock Eastern time, moneymindacademy.com. Word. Augusto, spouse enrollment. When you sign up, actually, you're kind of already signed up. Sean at undergroundwellness.com. Sean at undergroundwellness.com. Okay, let me get out of here and answer some questions. Ooh, sweating and stuff. Okay, so cool. If anybody has a question, you can just go ahead and raise your hand. So at the bottom of your screen, it says reactions. Click on that, and then you can click on raise your hand, and I'll bring you on. Mr. Ricky, my main man, what's up?
So if your favorite teams wins, do we get a discount on the package?
You already got a discount on the package.
I'm joking.
You funny guy. You know what? I'm not really a Lakers fan the way I used to be. I've kind of I'm a Warriors fan again, but they missed the playoffs barely. But next year they'll be better. Good to see you, Mr. Ricky.
Thank you.
Thanks for being here. Anybody got a question? Pregunta? Oh, somebody's got to have a question. Somebody's got to have a question. Rob Swain, what's up?
John Croxton, where do I get a shirt that says "thankful" like yours?
I'm
in trolling the interwebs.
It's I think it's human, HYOU. It's on the back of it here. I think it's HYOUMAN, human. And if that's not it, then I will tell you in book club on Wednesday. Tomorrow. Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thanks, Mr. Rob. Ashton, what it is? $9.
Hey, Sean, I put it in the chat, but what was the scholarship thing you were talking about on Miriam's podcast?
Oh, we don't do scholarships anymore. So yeah, especially this one. I think I've lowered the price to somewhere where.
Oh yeah, it's definitely way manageable.
Yeah, totally.
And for anyone that is on this call, I mean, you see those all the time, these signups for even like B school and stuff. And the only reason I'm willing to invest in this is exactly what you said, the community. Like, even without you giving us any knowledge, the community right there is worth $497. So if anyone is hesitant, I'm just in his book club, and I will tell you, it's the best decision I've ever made to excel and be in a space where people want this too. So
thank you, Ashton. You are the best. All right. Welcome, Carolyn. Welcome, Langston. Welcome to Money Mind Academy. Anybody else got a question for me? Question or comment? Do you cover life balance with finances this year? We are finally saving and investing, but I feel like we are 110% working our butts off saving and not living in the present. I don't really cover that, Melissa, in the content. However, that is something you can bring to one of the community calls, and our amazing community of people will help you with that. Let's see what else we got. Hey, Jessica, what's up? Tell Mr. Kenny I'll say what's happening. All right, anybody else? Any other questions? There's got to be some questions. All right, questions going once, going twice. What's up, Adam? And okay, Cheryl. Hey, Cheryl.
Because I'm in Sydney, Australia, I always get the times messed up. So have you got any idea what time your Money Mine Academy would be on here when I sign up.
I can look. Where you at?
Sydney, Australia.
What time is it in Sydney?
Well, it's 11:35 in the morning at the moment.
11:36 in the morning. So you are going to be, the classes, the 5 o'clock classes are going to be at 10 a.m. your time on
Oh, okay.
Wednesday.
Cool. I'll fix that up then.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Cheryl. Yep. All right. Ravneet, what's up?
Sean, I asked this question privately though. So I loved the whole session and just the learning of limiting beliefs and all those. But as you were going through them one by one, I was like, I don't have that. I don't, like, I'm okay. Like my mindset towards money, I guess, is positive. It's been all right, and doesn't mean that I still don't want to prosper anymore. Of course I do, and all those things. But I don't have those limiting beliefs. I don't. At least not consciously. Not something that I could figure out. But I couldn't help draw parallels in saying, maybe I have limiting beliefs when it comes to relationships and stuff. So my question to you is, do you think I can apply the same learnings in any aspect of life where I feel I'm not prospering, or is there due to something separate on that subject completely?
I'm seeing heads nod from people who've taken the course already. Yes. I wouldn't take the course just so you can you can apply it to relationships. It's always better if you are going to apply it to money. But people tend to say that the course doesn't just help with money. You can apply the principles to any part of your life.
Right. But do you in general also do things like on different subjects? I mean, this is for me one aspect.
I don't have like one thing I've said in the past is this can be Relationship Mind Academy. It can be all kind of different stuff. I just don't teach different stuff. Like money is my specialty, but again, you can certainly apply the principles to any part of your life.
Okay, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Yep. Thanks for being here. All right. Suzanne or Susan, wait, how do I say your name?
Susan.
Susan, what's up, Susan?
Oh, nothing much. What I would like to know is once we go through the whole program, because yes, I grew up with a mom saying money doesn't grow on trees, that's too much money, that's too expensive. So I understand I probably do have some of those beliefs about money that I grew up with. And I was wondering, once you go through the program, my next issue is I have no idea what to do to make more money. As far as a different career, I've been very, since college, I've been saying I don't know what I want to be when I grow up, but I know I want to make more money so that I can travel the world. And I'm just trying to figure out once I get past those limiting beliefs, is there any guidance to try to figure out, like, I feel like I need some type of a career counselor or something, or is it a decision-making problem?
Great question, Susan. Couple things there. Number one is I'm always encouraging my students to not try to figure out the how. And that's something that we talk about when it comes to the brain stuff, how to activate your intuition and get really in touch with yourself. And so that's what I would encourage you to be open to, is not trying to figure it out. How many times on the Quote of the Day show have you heard people say, don't try to figure out the how, don't try to figure out the how, don't try to figure out the how. But when you get your mind right and you release these limiting beliefs and you start to believe in yourself more. See, I believe that a lot of people already know what they really want to do. They just don't believe they can do it. Or they believe that other people are going to think they're silly when they go out there and do it. But when you become more confident, some of those maybe out there ideas or unconventional ideas that you have may feel a lot more appropriate. And you may have a lot more a sense of like self-confidence and self-efficacy, as in like, I can do that. I can really do that. Not just because you have more confidence, but I can do that because I have this community of really cool people also doing unconventional things that are surrounding me in this course. Number two is this is a great topic to bring to our Friday community calls. so we can all kind of discuss it together and kind of help you through that. I see Rose over there like nodding her head like, yeah, it comes to the community calls. Like, we got you, just to kind of put you more at ease with this idea of knowing what you want, but just not quite knowing how to get there. And it really feels good when you understand that a lot of people are either dealing with the very same situation now, or have dealt with it in the past, and have moved beyond that, are now doing or taking steps toward the thing that they really want to do.
Okay, I hope so, because it's been, every time I've been looking at different jobs, I feel like I want something that I enjoy, and my husband wants me to make more money, but I don't want to do something that I don't enjoy.
Yeah, don't do
So, so my husband feels, he says, you find something that pays well and you learn to like it. And I'm like, no, I can't do that. I can't. My heart, if my heart's not in it, I can't do it.
Yeah, don't do things that suck. No, that's not a good way to live your life, Susan. No,
I know,
no.
I know. And so I enjoy my job, but it doesn't pay enough. I'm thankful for my husband, who makes a decent living. And so if it wasn't for him, I would have to get food stamps. I mean, that's how low my pay is. But I do enjoy my job, and I feel like I'm helping others, but it's not cutting it. And you know that book where it says, do what you love, the money will follow. Well, the money is not following.
Yeah, I mean, you want to make sure there's a market for it, that people want the service you're providing, that they're willing to pay the amount of money that you want to charge for it, that you're willing to charge that amount of money because you feel worthy of having or charging that amount of money. There's a lot of layers to this. In Money Mind Academy, the course content will certainly help a ton, but I think the community calls will definitely add even more.
Okay, my job actually is, I'm not charging it. I'm working for a university. So I don't charge, we don't charge for what I'm doing. We don't charge the participants.
I got you.
So, yeah.
There's always ways to make money, and we will open up your brain and open up your intuition and give you the confidence, and help you, not give you the confidence, but help you to grow the confidence to actually take action when you figure out what it is. So jump into the course, Susan. You'll dig it.
Okay, I'll see how it goes with the money.
Right. Thank you, Susan.
Thank you.
Yep. All righty. Let me scroll through here real quick. Rebecca, I'll get to you in 2 seconds. For partner enrollment, just sign up. You're going to get a welcome email. Just respond to the welcome email and just say, hey, Katie, Katey. Hey, Katie, want to sign up my spouse? Here's the first and last name. Here's their email address. That's it. So easy peasy. All right, Rebecca, you are up.
Cool, thanks. I'm really psyched about the presentation, and it sounds like this is exactly what I need, because I know that I've got a ton of self-limiting beliefs. That's what's keeping me in a mode of self-sabotage, and that's why I joined the book club. So my question is the average time commitment. So I was actually talking to a friend from book club over the weekend. I've got 4 trials coming up in July and August. Hopefully a couple of them will go away, but am I crazy by trying to do MMA along with book club and also make sure I'm doing well at my job?
MMA is a 90-minute commitment every Tuesday. And if you got to miss class and just, listen to the audio file, like on the way to work the next day, you can certainly do that, because the audio files are in the members area. So if you can do that. In terms of like the homework, I'm not sure how long it takes to do homework. Hey, Rose, how long does it take to do homework?
Yeah, I'm 15 minutes.
Oh,
Yeah, it's very, you know what I mean? It's very, he guides you, it's like this, and this, and then this, there's not a lot, you don't have to go research or reading other stuff or anything like that.
So it's like reprieve from the trial prep that I'll be doing in the next month.
It's awesome. It's actually really fun because you're uncovering your own self, right? It's a self-discovery of stuff that is there, but you just kind of hold it down a little bit because you're busy doing other stuff and then wondering why you're getting the same results over and over and you don't want to. And then all of a sudden there's this little piece of paper and Sean in your head, and you're just jotting a couple things down, just answering some questions, and he kind of guides you through this little journey. And then all of a sudden you have these revelations and you start to feel lighter and things are more clear. And sometimes there's some tears because there's some emotional stuff that needs to be released. You know,
Yeah.
under there, everybody cries. Just
Everybody
throwing
cries.
that out there. It's totally cool. Everybody cries.
Yes.
Thank you, Rose. I appreciate that. And thank you, Sean.
Thank you, Rebecca.
So I'm not insane, basically, if I do this in the middle of trial season.
No.
In fact, I might be better at doing my trials if I uncover all this crap.
Hey, that's yes. Yes.
Thank you.
And thank you, Rose. Thanks, Rebecca. Let's see. Let me do a little refresh real quick. Alyssa, two Alyssas, Andrew, Megan, Langston, Carolyn, welcome to Money Mind Academy. You gotta get used to the horn. The horn is a big deal in the community calls. Okay, let me go through the questions in the chat. I think I saw one from David. Where's it at? How deep do you go into the psychological and neuro principles you mentioned in today's presentation? It helps to understand why my brain does what it does. Yeah, we go pretty deep yet simplified. I've learned a lot of stuff from Dr. Pillay. He's a wizard when it comes to the brain. And so there's quite a bit of neuroscience in there, but not like intimidating neuroscience. It's kind of like the way I explained it today. You got this conflict detector, it's your ACC, it does this. You know, we talk about the fear center, we talk about the prefrontal cortex, the insula, it's just stuff. But again, I teach them in a way that everybody can understand, so we don't like go deep where it's intimidating. Great question, David. Okay, let's see. Anybody else have a question? Do you provide any practical tools like spreadsheets, et cetera, to guide the process of? No, we don't have any spreadsheets, Alyssa. I'm not a spreadsheets kind of guy, to be honest. We just have like PDFs with just some questions for you to process. Sometimes I ask that you bring if you're going to attend the community calls, sometimes I ask that you bring some of your answers to the community calls so we can share them and discuss them and such. And so that's pretty cool. But yeah, no spreadsheets. We really get into the science of things. I've taken a lot of the woo-woo out of the course. I like hard science things that are provable. So that's something you can look forward to. We do have one kind of scientifically woo-woo, I think it's lesson 9 lesson called The Resonance, where we talk about like heart energy, and it's pretty cool. People love it a lot, law of attraction kind of stuff. Let's see. All right, last call for questions. Preguntas. Going once, going twice. Kavish, welcome to Money Mind Academy. Woo! All right, going once, going twice, and sold. All right, friends. To those who signed up, welcome. Hopefully, more of you will sign up tonight by 9 o'clock Pacific time, midnight Eastern time. You'll get the forever enrollment. You'll get the unlimited community calls. If not, you get the 12 and the 12 and the 12. And I will see you on Tuesday in class. Adios, my friends. Thanks for attending. You're the best. Adios. Sayonara. Peace. Bye.
Thanks.